spreadsheet there? Okay, cool. So man, so what we're gonna do is there's a couple of different ways that we can go about this. I typically like to start people not having to worry about tracking calories or thinking about things in such a complicated way because there's so much information out there. There's so much you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to only eat this, only eat that, and it becomes impractical, it becomes overwhelming, and it just starts to lose its utility really, really, really quickly. And so I want to give us at least a scope of what we're talking about here, and then from there, we can go and talk into your particular food log, and we can start to see maybe some places that, okay, we need some improvement here, or we could make some adjustments here and get a lot of the benefit. Because most of the things that I want you to do and most of the adjustments that I want you to make are going to be things that are big bang for your buck changes. In the sense that I don't want you to be worrying about little tiny pieces that are going to give you 1 or 2% here if there's a big fish that we can catch and really give you a lot of benefit there. So the main thing is here. So we're going to start off with this. We're going to fill in this section on the left side, and you'll see this as we go. But this is something that you can adjust as your body weight adjusts, as your activity level adjusts, and even as your goal adjusts. And so we're going to kind of fill this in. So Casey, what's your current body weight plus or minus? 185. Okay, awesome. All right. And then what's your current goal? Do you want to lose body weight in general, gain body weight in general, basically stay the same, but just recomposition, or where are you at with that? Okay. Hmm. Bringing it back down. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. So then what we'll do is we'll say, let's just say 180. Okay, so we'll say 180, and that'll be, a 5 pound adjustment. And the way I have everything laid out is it's going to happen, with these adjustments, you have goals that you'll try to hit over the course of a couple of months here. And that's going to take you away from yo-yo dieting. It's going to take you away from any big swings in what you already do. Like you don't want to take a polar bear and put it in the desert kind of deal. So you want to make sure that you're making smooth adjustments as you go here. So how many hours a week are you training and being active right now? Like four, five to six? Five. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. And then the next thing is the training intensity. So I have this little scale over here. I'm going to put you at the 10 because 11 for high intensity for male is basically reserved for like professional athletes. Like that's what high intensity is on in this particular scale. So I'm gonna put you at a 10 right here, and that's going to give us our numbers. So what your based off of this equation here, this is the Aragon equation, which is he's like a nutritional scientist, and he has this whole formula that he uses to be able to kind of adjust what it is that you're eating and what it is that you're doing throughout the course of a week. And so what I'm realizing is that we're on the weight gaining aspect. So I'm going to go to the fat loss aspect here real quick and then redo these numbers because I was like, those numbers are really high for what we're doing. All right, so 180. So there's two sheets here. Somebody who wants to lose weight, somebody who wants to gain weight. So we're doing 5 hours a week, and we're doing it's a 10. Cool. All right, man. So what this is a complete and utter guess right here as far as what your maintenance is going to be. So based off of his equation, you need to maintain your current body weight, your current level of activity, and your current level of intensity around 2,700 calories is what he has. That is, and again, that is a complete and utter guess. What is more beneficial in the long term is if you could do 2 or 3 days of exact tracking to figure out what that number is and then go from there. But essentially, what I want you to get from these numbers right here is two things. Trying to, and your biggest thing is going to be hitting your protein target every day and really aiming to hit your protein target every day. And the reason why that's number one is because without hitting your protein target, you just can't do for your body composition what you want to do long term. You can't make muscle out of carbohydrates and you can't make muscle out of fat. So to be able to add muscle to your frame and to start to lose body fat over time, that is going to take trying to get as close as you can to your protein target. Okay. So for you, that is around 180, 185 grams of protein a day, which is considerable for sure. And that might seem right now, based off of, if you did a little calculation for what you have been eating, that might seem like a lot. And it is in general a lot. And the reason why we pick that number is this formula right here is just 1 gram per pound. And that is the middle end of what is considered optimal. So research and all that stuff says that you can still gain muscle on zero point 0.7 to zero point 0.8, and you can still gain muscle on 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. For me, I like simplicity, and I really think that 1 gram per pound body weight, you can't not do the math on that, and it just makes it like this, I have a target. And if you do happen to, yeah, exactly, and it's just like, all right, I don't want to be doing fractions when I'm at work. Like, I just want to know, okay, I'm trying to eat this much, and in general, start to learn what that looks like as far as serving sizes and things like that for your protein and stuff. So for you, 180 to 185 is the bullseye. But if you miss the bullseye around it a little bit and you get 150, 160, you're still going to be in that zero point 0.7, zero point 0.8 range. But if you aim for zero point 0.8 and you miss low, then you start to miss out on the opportunity that you're looking for the muscle mass stuff. Does that make sense? Okay, cool, cool. And so this is something that you can take and you can plug in your numbers and you can see, okay, this is about how many calories I would be eating on a daily basis to be able to maintain my weight for the long term. And you can just kind of start to play with that. And then if you do want to track, the only thing that I would track would be your protein. I would just start off with tracking that because trying to plug in fat and carbohydrates and all that stuff it just becomes way too big, and honestly, you don't really need to unless you're getting very specific with your outcome, right? So yeah, and most people will never be because it's not really useful, honestly. It's just hit the protein and then try to eat to satiety with other things, and then you're gonna get 85, 90% out of it of what you want to. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna stop sharing that piece and I'm gonna go to this right here, which is going to be the Canva piece here. Give me 1 second. All right, so you know what? I'm just going to share my whole desktop and see, and hopefully this works out. Okay, tell me if you can you see this slide that I have here? Okay, is it readable? Okay, awesome, man. So cool. So this is this is my shift food pyramid for guys who don't eat good. Yeah, man. So anyway, it's not a real food pyramid, but what it is it's a little bit of a combination between a habits pyramid and a kind of like a what how you eat, a lifestyle piece, and also the what you're eating, right? Because we get so focused on what we're eating that we start to forget that if I eat my first meal of the day at 1 p.m. on one day, then 7 a.m. on the next day, and then 4 p.m. It's just like I need to give my body consistency. So the first thing is you already completed the step at the bottom, which is your awareness piece. That's what the 3-day food log is for. It's like, okay, I tend to eat around these times. I tend to eat these types of foods. I tend to feel this way throughout the day, and I can pay attention to those types of things. Um, and you have consistency too, man. All 3 days you had you were able to eat. You ate 3 meals, and you were doing well with that. You ate pretty much at this woke up pretty much the same time, ate at pretty much the same time. There wasn't really too much deviation in what you were doing, like maybe plus or minus 30 minutes here or there, but it was pretty consistent, and a lot of guys struggle with like, okay, they don't have their first meal until noon on one day, and then they binge themselves and then they eat a bunch at night, and then you know what I'm saying? So you were already like doing pretty well with these bottom two pieces. Um, and the reason why I wanted to bring up the protein first is because I would say I didn't plug in all of your potential numbers into a tracking app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer or something like that. Um, because I don't know how much you ate. I didn't want to just make these random guesses on stuff because we were mostly looking at, what types of foods are you eating and the consistency of it. But I would say, man, that you would be able to take really big steps forward if we were able to consistently get you a little bit more protein at pretty much all of your meals. Um, and that can go into start talking about like food prepping a little bit with like some crock pot chicken or some crock pot beef. Even if you have time, 45 minutes on a Sunday I don't know if you have a flat top, but we have a flat top. I throw like 5 or 6 chicken breasts on there, and then I just have it to pull, throughout the week. But that would, I think, be at this current time, if you didn't change a single other thing, adding 4 to 6 ounces of protein at each meal and being able to really crush that for a consistent period of time where that definitely becomes like how you eat and what your body is expecting at those times. Okay, cool. Um, so yeah, man. So the stage that we're at now is we worked our way up. We had the awareness piece, so we did the food log, consistency. You're eating at consistent times, and then now we have the macros and the raw input. And so the only thing that I would ask you to do is let's start to figure out ways that we can practically, based off of your preferences and your time and things like that, start to work in some options for you at breakfast for your protein increases. So on day two, I believe it was, we got in, yeah, an egg and a protein shake. So average protein shake is going to be 25 to 30 grams of protein. One egg is about 7 grams. So that right there is, let's say, 40 grams of protein at that one meal, which is let's keep that because without consuming meat at a meal, it's difficult to get higher than like 50 grams of protein. And not many people want to eat a bunch of meat first thing in the morning. So um, if we could, if we could make day three and day one where you had, yogurt and granola and some coffee, that's going to be a day where it's going to be really hard. Day one, for example, if you can see this, it's going to be really hard to hit your numbers at the end of the day unless you just go like full Genghis Khan and eat a whole cow at night. You know what I mean? Because it's just going to be hard. It's to put the amount of protein that your body is asking for, especially with how active you are now with 4 training sessions, sometimes crushing it on the slopes, going for runs. Like your body's using a lot of muscle mass, and so to maintain that and build on that even, it's going to be difficult to get all of that compressed into just 2 meals or even one towards the end of the day. So finding some legitimate strategies that would work for you to get into a better protein habit in the morning would be awesome. And then two, that's going to help your satiety. That's going to help your energy. That's going to help just all sorts of stuff moving throughout the rest of the day as well. So that'll be that'll be good. So let's talk about maybe some options for you for getting in the protein in the morning. Cool. Okay, cool. So if we kind of take a step back to this, like the next thing after we look at getting in, like making sure you hit the number, right? So that could be, for example, like the one end of the spectrum would be 5 protein shakes a day. All right, no one wants to do that. You would hit your number, but it wouldn't necessarily be the healthiest thing that you could do, right? And so what I would like to do is figure out some type of strategy for you inside of breakfast to help you get that. So if that means on like Monday, Wednesday, Friday you have a protein shake because it's just a little bit more convenient for your schedule, then that would be cool. But then also too, if let me ask you this actually. Whenever you eat breakfast in the morning, are you kind of like rushing to be able to get to work after? Is it a hurry thing or do you have time to sit down and make some food and kind of go about it? Like what's your typical schedule like? You eat that. Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Then dude, what I would suggest, and actually, let me ask you this too. How's your appetite in the morning? Like, are you pretty hungry? Are you pretty fired up for breakfast, or is it kind of like I'm doing this because it's a part of my, it's just a part of like it's like brushing my teeth. I just do it. But, hmm. Okay. 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 Sweet. Well, dude, cool then. So, where with what we're at right now, just considering the 3 days that you sent me, it would be scrambled eggs, English muffin. Yeah, dude. Actually, and even day three, like you had scrambled eggs. That's solid too, man. So, if you like eggs, which seems like you do, then what I would recommend is it seems like you like eggs. It's funny, man. Some people like they just force themselves to eat food that they don't really like, and I'm like, dude, there's other options that you may like. You don't have to eat this. Instagram said I have to eat it, so I'm eating it. Um, yeah, exactly. So dude, if yeah, let's try to aim for whenever you make the eggs, is it one egg, two, three, what you do? Okay, cool. Let's start off with trying to make it consistent, like hitting it 5 days a week. Like if you have, because everyone have typically has a more normal schedule throughout the week. Monday through Friday is pretty normal, and then Saturday, Sunday happens, and you sleep in, you go out, whatever, whatever. If we can hit, if we can hit 3 eggs in the morning with a protein shake, or sorry, let me stop that. 2 eggs in the morning with a protein shake, and then whatever other ancillary things that you want to fill in the gaps with, like if you want some greens, or if you want a little piece of fruit, or if you want, if you like the yogurt with some honey and granola, like whatever that is. You don't want to be walking to your desk being like, oh, I just ate so much fucking food. But we do want to start to increase the amount of food that you're eating in the category of the protein component. Protein's very filling, so it's one of those. It's like a fitness thing. It takes a little bit of time for your body to become adjusted to eating consistently 35, 40, 45 grams of protein at that time of day. And so after a week or two, if you're good on 2 eggs and a protein shake, then I would honestly suggest trying to get 3 eggs, because again, the more food that we can eat in that category is going to get us closer and closer to that 1 gram per pound target that we have at the end of the day, which is basically priority number one. Okay. Does that seem pretty reasonable? Cool. Yeah. 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 Totally. Totally. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've actually experimented with a bunch of different types over the years, and I've gone kind of back and forth on what works for me, what doesn't, what makes me feel good, what doesn't, et cetera, et cetera. And I've kind of landed on, personally for me right now, plant-based proteins. The reason for that being is because it's either plant-based or it's animal-based. And when it's animal-based, it's typically whey protein. And whey protein is fantastic from a molecular standpoint, in the sense that like all of the amino acids that you want to build muscle and do the things that protein does for you, whey protein is like primo. But for me, when I eat whey protein, especially, you're having a 2 scoops, it's 40 grams of it. Like it's a lot going into your body at one time. If you think about it, you'd have to drink fucking 12 gallons of milk to get that much whey. You know what I mean? Um, and you can make the same argument with peas. Like, how many peas would I have to eat to get the amount of pea protein I'm getting? For me, it just whenever I do weigh, it messes with my stomach. Like I'm ripping ass later, or burping, or just like like it doesn't work for me. So I've kind of landed on minimal ingredient plant proteins. I'm still hitting my numbers. Maybe the argument can be made that it's not as ideal for muscle gain as whey protein is, and that's totally fine. But as long as I'm hitting my numbers and filling in the other gap or filling in the rest of the day with solid beef or solid chicken or just some good quality stuff, I feel like it's it's doing what I need it to do at that time. Yeah. And then the other thing being too, it's like if you find that your appetite is increasing to a place where, the idea of more solid, real food sounds good, then you can start to talk about, getting some, they have some really good companies out there now where you can go like Applegate Organics is one where you can get some little miniature like chicken sausages for the morning or some turkey bacon or something that fits into this is protein heavy and it's actual real food as opposed to synthesized because at the end of the day I think yeah and like you can get proteins where like the pea protein I have is one maybe two ingredients like it's just like pea protein and that's basically it but at the end of the day it's like I think your body is going to like and process more real food as opposed to something that's already made its way through a machine a bunch of times so yeah. And yeah, man, I wouldn't right now like worry about the, really honestly anything else because it's the process too that I have and we'll kind of go through this is let's see. Yeah, no. I'm trying to make these entertaining. So so it's not just but yeah, so part three of this, and we're kind of going through this right now, is breakfast. And so really what we do is just work on one meal at a time because all we're looking for is building consistency, habits, and really getting you dialed in on making it a part of your lifestyle as opposed to this is some doctrine that you have to follow. And if you don't follow it, then everything's fucked. It's like you have a lot of time to make an adjustment, like, finishing this whole thing and getting it all really well and dialed in could be a 6 or 8 month process. But at the end of that 8 months, it's not like I just went on a diet. It's like I now eat differently. You know what I mean? Or now you're doing the program. Like I move differently. I train differently, and it didn't happen on day one. We build that. And so it's this exact same idea to get that. So that's kind of how we're going to work with that. So I would really say if we can get consistent with, nailing the protein targets at breakfast, I think, dude, honestly, I think it's like a cascade too. It starts to fall some dominoes towards having a little bit of a better lunch, being more aware about what I'm having at lunch, being more aware about what I'm having at dinner, and just I think that'd be a good starting place for you. Cool, cool, cool. Um, you got any questions for me on that in particular, practically speaking, or yeah, anything? Hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, totally, man. And you just repeated. That's exactly it. And I'll send you a link to the app that I use to track things. And again, I do think that tracking. Some people really enjoy it. Some people really enjoy like taking one blueberry, dropping it in the bowl, and see the number being perfect. That used to be me. It's not me anymore. I don't think it's practical. And plus, I got way too much shit I'm trying to do, so I'm not trying to do that. But it is beneficial at the very beginning to help you gain what we talked about on, over here, which is just Colin. It's just gaining that awareness about what it is that I'm eating. Because when you measure, you're able to quantify, and when you can quantify, you can start to get a real understanding for what you think you're eating versus what you're actually eating. I'm sure you've seen those videos where it's like, oh, I only had a bowl of cereal, but a bowl was 3.5 servings, and so you know what I mean. It's like it's in that exact same vein that we want to look at our protein because it's like I had some chicken, but most restaurants, if you go get like a bowl of pho or something like that, they'll give you like 2.5 ounces, 3 ounces of chicken, so it becomes, yeah, it's basically nothing. So just being able to see that and then be aware of those kinds of things is gonna be big on your progress too for that. Cool. I'm trying to think too, and this is important to see, but like the bottom four pieces here is going to be 90% of your progress. And like so many people get, you know, tripped out by this top 10%, like, is it organic? Is it keto? Is it whatever, whatever? And it's just like, dude, I'm telling you, it just doesn't matter. you know? So yeah, nail that first meal. And then go from there. And too, like if you do want to track, the only thing again I would say is just track that protein. And just every couple of days, throw it in chronometer, like, all right, I had 4 ounces of chicken breast, I had 2 eggs, whatever, and you'll see it's like, oh shit, what I actually need to be eating to get where I want to go is maybe 30% different than where I thought I was, so that kind of stuff. No, you definitely don't. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Trying to see. Yeah, man, just on that first meal too, like if there's anything else, I really think, yeah, I really think you're good. And if it becomes one of those things where, maybe you are a little bit more rushed for work, or you do have a busier morning or whatever, whatever, then we can start to talk about some strategies to be able to, like, breakfast food is one of those things that I just personally, it to me, it doesn't keep that well in the fridge. Like if I made a quiche or something, I'm not fired up to eat it the next day. It's like it's kind of one and done. Um, but there are some things you can hard boil some eggs the night before and have that. You can, Alex makes a bunch of breakfast sausage and she can take that. So it's stuff that you can do to make sure that you're working with your own lifestyle as well is going to be important. But if you have time, then enjoy the breakfast part. Yeah. hmm Yeah. Totally. Yeah, for sure. And then for as far as the meal prep, man, too, and again, it follows that same philosophy. All right, like let's kind of fix, if you will, but let's work on one thing. And the one thing is like, all right, I know I need to get 40, 50 grams of protein at this meal. Okay, how can I guarantee that I do that? The only thing that Alex and I really meal prep is our protein. Like we put 6 chicken breasts in a crock pot the other night with some taco seasoning, salsa, a couple of little things. It took literally 8 minutes, I think, to prepare. Sits there for 6 hours, and then it's now in a Tupperware that we're going to serve for the next 2, 3 days. Um, and so it's literally like yeah, again, I only meal prep really my proteins, and then that way I can just have that, and then I'll grab some of the frozen rice or some of the frozen potatoes or some of the frozen whatever, and I can just go from there, as opposed to being like, I mean, if you try to cook ground beef or cook a chicken breast, it's a 15, 20 minute endeavor every time, so it starts to kind of get in the way of things, and it just becomes easier to grab something else. So if you do that, yeah. So yeah, I've tried out some different crockpot recipes. I want to put that together as a resource for you guys. That way you can just have like some things that I know that are dank, and you'll be able to throw it in there and just let it rip, and that'll kind of hit that component for y'all. Cool, cool, cool. Um, dude, I was cracking up, man. Whenever I think it was day two. Let me see real quick. Hold on. It was uh maybe it wasn't. I don't know, maybe it was day one. I don't know. I need to go look real quick. Hold on. Because it was yeah. I was quite hungry after I'm on cheesy bread because there wasn't much portions left and it's yummy. How'd you feel 20 minutes, 30 minutes after? Wanting more cheesy bread. I read that. I was like, it's so true. It's so true. Yeah. I know, it's like I could definitely do 3 pieces of this. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Um, Well, dude, that's it for me, man. I think if we can hit those two eggs in a protein shake, make that consistent, judge how you feel, pay attention to some of these things on here, digestion, energy, etc., and then be able to add one egg in a week and a half, 2 weeks, and see how that goes, and then just keep letting it rip. Make that really consistent for 2, 3 weeks. Make it a part of how you eat, your routine, and then we can start to talk about, making some crock pots and adjusting lunch and going from there. Definitely. Definitely. Every day. Yep, exactly. The slide I have in here for that question is this, like, it takes your body really wants consistency. Your body really wants consistency. And if you think about your physiology and how many components are going on and how long it takes to accomplish a certain task, to change your body, like really change it, not just, for a split second, but really make it different, it takes a lot of consistent input. I need to be giving it the same thing every single day. So for example, if you're 185 pounds, if you want to be 180 pounds, you want to eat Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like a person who is 180 pounds. You don't want to eat on Monday like someone who's 195, someone on Tuesday who's 170, someone on Wednesday who's 200. You see what I'm saying? Like, because then your body goes, well, I don't know what the fuck you want from me right now. And our tendency, yeah, what am I doing, right? And our tendency as human beings is to just defer to the side of, well, more resources is better. So that's where our body fat goes up. That's where our muscle mass goes down because muscle mass is expensive. Body fat is basically stocking things away in savings. So if your body gets confused about what the future is going to be like, because yesterday you were 185, but tomorrow you're 200, and Wednesday you're 215, and then blah, 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 your body's just going to go, all right, well, let me just keep my resources so that I know I'm guaranteed some stuff whenever things get weird, and he goes back to not eating one day. You know what I'm saying? So so being able to be consistent with your input and being really solid with those pieces is the biggest is probably the biggest key, which is why it's step number two on the pyramid, is because if I'm not consistent, my body goes, dude, I don't know what the fuck you want from me. You know, right? Like if like you're training 4 times a week. It probably took a little while before your body goes, oh, this is what I'm doing. Okay, now I know. And yeah, we change up the workouts and the intensity and things, but your body still knows that it's going to be getting after it 4 days a week. But if you went from 0 to 4 real fast, things would get confusing. Yeah. And I mean, dude, life's gonna happen. You're gonna go out on a weekend, like we're gonna watch the Super Bowl, and I'm probably gonna eat fucking 3 dozen wings. It's just gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? But that's one day out of 2 months, which is very little input in general. So it's that whole kind of, principle of what you do consistently is the result that you're gonna get kind of thing. Cool. Sweet, sweet man. Well, dude, yeah. So that's your kind of homework, man. So get those eggs, get the protein shake, make that consistent. Coffee's all good, all that stuff's good. And then give it a week or two, 10 days to make it a part of your routine, and then see if you can add an egg based off of hunger and appetite. And I'll send you that app, and maybe we can start to plug in just some of the general things that you're eating to see where your protein target is. And we'll go from there. Cool, bro. You have the bird flu right now? Oh, I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, you're good. All right, long you. Damn, yeah, that's true, man. That's Lily's gonna be like, Casey, the grocery bill is $800. You're like, yeah, I had to eat some eggs. Talk to coach. That's awesome, man. Well, cool, dude. Yeah, if you have any questions about this, shoot me a message. Just let me know. But otherwise, man, we'll check in a couple days and see how it's going, how you feeling, and we'll go from there. Awesome, brother. Appreciate you, man. All right, bro. Take care.